I expect this video to be stupid and not ever see the light of day. But I kind of want to start contributing to my pool blog again. Um, I used to be a pretty prolific blogger, and then I kind of started a pool blog to go along with it, and then life happened, and I didn't really do any blogging anymore, any writing anymore. I do make videos down here all the damn time, probably every night or every other night. I make a video almost always just for my own benefit. I have a Plex server, and I watch it. Maybe at some point in the future, little reminders to myself, things like that. When I die, it could be my legacy, whatever. But most of that stuff, 99% of that stuff is not public. Mostly because I'm talking about people that I play against. If I play against somebody and just say I'm better than they are, I don't really need to be out there making that public. It makes them look bad, and it's not my place to be doing that. A lot of my friends also gamble, and I don't need to be doing shit like that. So, but I want to get back into it a little bit. Not using names, trying to be as generic as I can, given the limited amount of opponents that I have. And so that's what I'm doing. For now, for this little stupid thing, I just want to talk about a little bit of a ethical dilemma that I have, I guess. Not ethical is a bad word for that. It's a little conundrum that I have, and I had a similar one. 10 years ago, I did a video about, do I play with my Predator Sneaky Pete that I don't like the looks of, but I can bank really well with it, or do I play with something else that I do like the looks of, but I don't play as well? And yeah, that was a bit of an issue for me, and I have a lot of issues. If you know me personally, you know I have a lot of issues, but they keep life interesting. So my issue right now that I'm having is which cue, and it's really narrowed down to two different cues, do I want to be my daily driver until something better comes along. Something better almost always comes along, as I found, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I got two cues that play almost identical. I can play just as well with one or the other. But one of them has pros on this side, the other one has pros on this side. So I'm going to eventually talk about that. But just as a bit of a background, I have pros. This right here is my Sean SL7. This is my oldest possession. This was my main cue from the time I bought it, and I want to say 1991 until about 2010. This was my cue. Now, about the year 2000, I switched from the stock Sean shaft to a Predator 314 shaft. That was, everybody switching to the Predators. I think Predators might have been the first low deflection shafts that were marketed as being low deflection. At least the first that I heard about anyway. I switched shafts, but this was my butt. I didn't even really own any other cues. Maybe one or two brake cues or some crap like that. That was it. For a long ass time. Then about 2011, 2012, something like that, I kind of caught a little bit of the bug that still afflicts me of, hey, buy a cue. And so I did. I bought a lot more Sean cues. I have a bunch of Sean cues now. Shit, probably 6 or 7 back there. And I would switch. I'd buy one, an STL-15. I'd shoot with it for a while. SL-10, which became my main cue for a while. But always still Sean's, and always with a low deflection shaft. I did switch from a Predator 314 shaft to the Jacoby low deflect, the Jacoby Ultras or whatever they're called. My Predator cues, my Predator shafts were getting a little bit long in the tooth, and they needed ferrule work and things like that. And as I found out, the new Predator 314 shafts were horrible. They were horrible. It was hard to believe it was by the same company. So I switched it to Kobe's, and that was my main shaft. Again, with some Sean butt for another 5 or 6 years. Perfectly happy with this arrangement. Perfectly happy with it. I got into the habit, because of this bug that I mentioned I have, of buying a cue for myself on my birthday each year. Because God knows nobody else is going to ever buy me a present, you know. So I would buy a cue for myself on my birthday. And in 2019, I went to the place where I go and see what they had. He didn't have a really huge selection of things that like really caught my eye. And ended up just, okay, fine, I'll buy that PCR. And I bought a PCR cue. That is not on my list of props. And it really should be. Because that PCR cue, now let me get it. I know, I'm not prepared as I thought I was. You just have to get over it. So here I come back with this cue now. This cue is not much to look at at all. I don't like wrapless cues at all. But this cue is the best hitting cue I've ever hit a ball with. Stock shaft, and it changed something in me. Like it changed my soul or something. It changed something in me, and I was like, you know what? All this low deflection stuff that I've been doing has been taking away from how good a cue can hit. I wasn't noticing it. I was noticing it wasn't squirting as much, but I wasn't noticing the mushy hits that I was getting, things like that. This cue, unbelievably, it just opened my eyes. It really opened my eyes a lot. So about a month later, because again, I don't really like the way this cue looks, I bought another PCR. And the PCR that I bought was my main for a couple of years. In 2020, which was the last time they had Derby, I had my best ever shooting at Derby. I don't think it was my best ever, final finish, but it was my best ever shooting, and it was with a PCR with a stock shaft. Pretty damn amazing, That continued to be my main until this past fall, and this past fall, this cue came up for sale. This is again a PCR. It's just not the same one. This is actually the same shaft, though. This is the shaft that became my main shaft, and that I shot really well with. I got this cue in November, sent it off to get it rewrapped, got it back in January, and I was like, fine. Finally, the perfect cue for me. This is my new main cue now. And it was my new main cue for a little while. Again, stock shaft. I have no intentions of ever going back to a low deflection shaft. I have a bunch. I've tried them. I've got carbon fiber shafts, carbon fiber core shafts. I guess, by the way, the Q-Tech Synergy 15K shaft is the best shaft I've ever played with, hands down, no doubt. But it's black, and I can't get past the looks of it. So I'm never going to public with something like that. It'd be like going into public with one of those pool gloves. No, it's not me. I'm not that guy that goes out and puts on a pool glove and shoots with a black shaft. No, I'm not. This cue, I'm 100% perfectly happy with it. It's great. I just said 100%. I'm going to change that in a second. So, I also do a lot of raffles. Tony Chohan raffles off some really beautiful shit. And I've been lucky enough to win some cues. I've won 3 cues. One was a Sean. And then I won a Carmelli. and I won a Tim Scruggs. Now, this is not the Carmeli that I won, but the Carmeli that I won, I like the way it plays well enough that I decided to buy this one. And actually just got this one back, less than a week ago from getting rewrapped. It had Irish linen, and now this is the Spanish bull leather. Beautiful cue, beautiful cue. Doesn't play as well as this PCR I just got done showing you. As out of one of these PCRs I just got done showing you. So, as much as I like it, it's going on my wall. It doesn't hit as well. I mentioned that I won a Scruggs in a raffle. In one of Tony's raffles in February, I won this Scruggs. This is my first Tim Scruggs. Yeah, I paid money to get into the raffle, clearly, but this would be my most expensive cue if I was just to go, if I was just paying cash for all the cues I have. This would easily be the most expensive one, especially now that Tim's passed. This cue right now is my main cue. This is my main cue. This is the one I take out when I'm going to play and things like that. This is the one I played with down here. It hits fantastic. I shoot really well with it. And it's 99% good. It's 99% good, just like this PCR is 99% good. They hit almost identically to me. I play almost identically. I play just as well with this as I do with the PCR and vice versa. And this is the difference. This is the difference. So this Scruggs, it's a freaking Tim Scruggs, okay? Anybody that's played pool has heard of it. It's got sharp points. I'm not super thrilled with how plain it is, but it's kind of grown on me how plain it is. But this is a real custom cue maker cue. But if you look right there, you really don't see anything. There's just a little screw there that holds this rubber thing in place. Actually, the bumper and all that, and there's a weight bolt inside there, is exactly the same as on my Sean's. Exactly the same. So my only problem with the Scruggs is that I cannot put an extension on it. Go back to my PCR. Because I had to buy the extension set for it. But this is a threaded hole and have extensions that I can screw in. I like the way this cue looks a lot. But look, it's got rounded points. Therefore, it's not as good as a custom cue. I don't know who decided to make that rule, but I guess I kind of agree with it, or I wouldn't be making this video. Like everything about this cue, except that it doesn't have sharp points. How stupid is that? It's the way it is. It's the way, that is the way it is. You know, I don't have to say that I like that. That's that I'm considering that to be a fault, but facts are facts, and I'm considering those rounded points to make that cue not as good as it should be. Just like I'm considering with my Scruggs, the lack of the ability to put an extension on makes this cue not as good as it should be. Now, I started playing pool in 1983. So, I would say for the first 850 billion years, I played pool without ever having to put an extension on my cue. Extensions hadn't been invented yet, as far as I know. I would use a bridge like a damn caveman is what I would do. And did okay, you know, it was fine. I didn't know what I was missing, I guess. Well, they hadn't been invented, so I wasn't missing anything. But the few times nowadays that I have a bit of a stretch, and I go and grab a bridge, and I'm playing with the Scruggs, almost always I'm like, I wish I could put an extension on this cue. Almost always. The times when I am playing with the PCR, then I can do that. I can go, yay, I can put an extension on. I walk over here, my extension's right there, stick it on, shoot the shot. And so this is where I sit right now. Is I sit with my PCR, which hits fantastic, accepts an extension, has rounded points, and is much more of a mass market production type cue. I have this, and then I have my Scruggs, which hits fantastic, is made by a custom cue maker who has now passed, has sharp points, is a little plain looking, but cannot accept an extension. And this is where I sit, is these two cues both equally deserve to be my daily drivers. They both do. Now for the last, since I got the Scruggs, that's the one I've been carrying around. That's the one I've been taking out to shoot and things like that. These two cues both hit very well. The Scruggs squirts just a little bit more. So there's a little bit of a difference that way. But it's not like the Scruggs squirts so bad that it's not playable. I have to play with it. So the cues are not interchangeable as far as play goes. I can't carry them both around in my case, flip a coin and just take one out. Take either one out. They're very. I love both these cues, and for slightly different reasons. I have problems with both of these cues. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Right now, I'm really leaning towards just sticking with the Scruggs. As I said, I played for 850 billion years without an extension, and I was fine. So I could just keep with the Scruggs. When I have to stretch out or whatever, go get a bridge like a caveman and shoot the shot. But still, there's a part of me that says, you know what? You shouldn't have to get a bridge like a caveman. If you were shooting with the PCR, you could just put an extension on. This is my thing. And like I said, if you know me, you know I have issues and I overthink things, and I will think things to death. And whereas like tonight, I'm like, yeah, I'll just stick with the Scruggs. Tomorrow night, it might be different. Maybe I have 5 or 6 shots in a given session where I wish I had an extension. Or maybe I'll miss with a bridge, something like that. And like, no, screw the Scruggs. I'm going to the PCR because then I can put an extension on. This is the way I am, people. So, you're watching this, and if you want to watch more of me rambling on, then here I am. Otherwise, there are plenty of better pool players out there than me making YouTube videos. That's for damn sure. Later.